like that. We like that a lot.
Put that on the list of things that we like to see. Hello and welcome. We are here in the Cluboratory at Miles of Golf in Ann Arbor. As always, I'm Luke. I'm joined by one of our expert club fitters, Jacob Coudray. Jacob, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We're in the kind of the thick of the new product season as we get into it right now, where all the companies that have drivers coming out this product cycle, we're going to see them all kind of here in the next couple weeks. Today we're taking a look at the brand new line of drivers from Callaway. It is their ELYTE line of drivers, kind of giving a nod to the creator of Callaway in that name. We see three very similar heads that we saw in the AI, I guess that we've seen in the last couple of generations from Callaway. We see three head styles of a lower spinning, a more neutral, and then a higher launching draw bias driver. But we do see the names change a little bit from last year. We still have Triple Diamond, their driver meant for your kind of your speedster, the guy that needs a little lower spin. Then you have their core model, which is just ELYTE this year, as opposed to having that max moniker that we've seen in years past of the driver that's meant to fit kind of the most wide variety of golfers. We see that a lot more in companies now where their core model, they're not attaching any sort of secondary name to it. It's just what that name
It is what the driver is, yeah.
100%. And then we have the X model, which used to be their Max D model, which I'll say I'm a big fan of them kind of getting away from the draw just the draw name in it, because I know it as much as you do. When you're here in the fitting bays and you have a golfer that might struggle with a slice and you want to bring one of these drivers into consideration, as soon as they say, all right, we're going to try out the max draw, they're like, but hey man, like I don't want to, as that almost falls down, it's like, hey man, I don't want a driver that's only going to draw for me.
Correct.
So like almost just getting rid of that name, like, hey, no, this is their X driver. It's going to soften the blow a little bit in here of like, hey man, like just trust this driver. Yeah, sure, we can move weight into the heel, but it just gets rid of like the, hey, this is just meant to be a slice killer, because it's also meant to help a golfer hit the ball a little bit higher in the air. As we move into actual similarities and differences in terms of the composition of the driver, the structure of it, what is different about this ELYTE line of drivers compared to the last of the Paradigm AI smoke?
Well, first and foremost, aerodynamics. Right? Getting the driver to fly more efficiently through the air, moving faster, increase club head speed. If we can get your club head speed up, ball speed's going to come with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very year-to-year thing for a lot of companies. Of like, hey, they're always going to do something to the structure of the driver to make sure that, hey, if anything, it's going to be more aerodynamic than we've seen in the past. A way that companies do that, getting into the kind of the next change with Callaway, is altering the crown. We have their new carbon thermal forged crown, where with the carbon, they're able to save weight where they need it to and distribute it where it needs to be, which, again, with center of gravity and the shape, is going to help with that aerodynamics of, again, helping the club move faster.
While also maintaining that structural integrity, which is great for forgiveness.
Exactly. And that's what this new like carbon that we see companies using in the crown, it's what's going to help them do, is maintain the structural integrity of it, as well as moving faster through the air. And then take me into the next change that we're going to see into this driver.
So AI Smart Face. They call it the AI 10X Smart Face, and just an improved version over what they've kind of been, trending towards over the last few models. 10 times more control points on the face, essentially allowing you, when you miss it on different parts of the face, to maintain proper launch conditions and as much ball speed as possible.
I mean, as we see with, AI and everything, the more data that you put into something, the more optimized that final product is going to be. So, they have who knows how many shots out at their performance facility out in California, where they're hitting all these shots, and we see all this data that's coming in. All of that's getting input into a computer in terms of like where their points of contact on the face, where do they need to change variable face thickness to make sure that, if you hit a high toe, it's going to come off in a way that's going to try to help you more so than hurt you.
Exactly.
So getting down to one of the last, I would say, bigger changes with this line, with the core model head and then the X model head, is the removal of the sliding weight. That's something that whenever we've seen movable weights in a Callaway head, it's always been on a sliding mechanism where you can kind of pick and choose where you want that weight to sit. Now it's more of a fixed system where you have, in the core model, you have 3 fixed spots where you can move it: heel, toe, and center. And then in the X model, you have kind of your back center and then the heel weight for, again, to help someone that might struggle with that slice miss. Talking with the people at Callaway and why this change happened, your first point, Jacob, aerodynamics. being able to get rid of that sliding weight saves the sliding weight mechanism, saves a lot of weight in this head. Weight that, again, they can put in other places of the head to maximize that aerodynamic profile and the center of gravity to make sure that ball flight's going to be where you want. So you're still going to see all the same benefits of a sliding weight because, again, in a fitting bay, how often were you going to just moving the sliding weight a fraction? Like in certain fittings, yeah, but
not very often.
No.
A second point, which I don't even know if Callaway mentions this, but something that we've seen a lot through fittings is when you put a sliding weight track in there, you have to remove a lot of material in order to do that.
Yes.
So by having just a few fixed points, it increases the stability of the head, which leads to higher MOI and more forgiveness.
Yep. We're starting to see, I mean, most heads, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about certain ones right now in terms of embargoes, but a lot of companies are getting away from sliding weight. I think as we move into this next generation of drivers, it's going to be, I don't know if we're going to really see one of, again, that sliding mechanism. Going into your point where, hey, we can still change center of gravity, but we don't need to have this, again, mechanism that's in there that's taking up all this weight, where we can find better ways to place this and make it more aerodynamic and more structurally sound.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, before I start hitting them, as I'm looking down, I have the triple diamond in my hands right now. The overall aesthetic of these drivers have changed. It went back to somewhat of a green colorway.
Yeah, like throwback to Epic.
I was lucky enough to go out to the ECPC out in Carlsbad, and that was one of my first questions was, hey, what brought back the green? They were like, every time Callaway has come out with like a bigger, a product that they, not to say one's more important, but one they're like very proud of, like a big change, they always want that green in there. So you know that them putting this colorway into this driver, they have a lot of faith behind it. It's like, hey, this is going to be a very well-performing driver. And then in terms of aesthetics from one to the other, in the triple diamond, we have more of a glossy look up top, where you would say that's more of a typical player's profile.
Traditional player's profile, exactly.
A lot of the guys on tour, like, they've always gravitated towards more of a glossy look. And then as you get into the Core and the X model, it has that, just more of a carbon crown. Is that what we're going to call it?
Carbon matte that you're kind of used to from Callaway and some of the other major manufacturers.
What we saw in AI Smoke last year.
Yeah.
And then obviously triple diamond, more of a smaller profile head. I think it's like 445 to 450 cc.
450 cc, yeah.
450. And then you go into more of the 460 with the Core and the X. So very traditional changes in terms of head size in this model, but still something to note of changes from the past. But other than that, as we talk about everything on paper, I want to put some balls on the tee and see what it does in real life and see how they feel and see how they fly. Disclaimer, it is December 27th today. I've eaten about 70,000 calories the last couple of days. It's a little cold out here. My speeds aren't going to be quite what we saw with Jacob when I was in here for titles with Jacob. So don't go into the comments when you see me not putting up 120 club head speed right now. Small disclaimer.
Hey, improved aerodynamics. We'll see what happens.
But it's not July here in Michigan, so the club head speed's not going to be where it normally is. But let's see how she flies. A little low on the face, but that's what this driver's meant for, is to help out with a shot like that. What are we looking at numbers-wise on that guy?
Still loading on TrackMan here. 14.7 at 2,800, and 285 carry on a pretty cold swing. Swinging 114 right now, so it's definitely not slow. 169 ball speed. That was a very, very good start to the.
Maybe I didn't need that little disclaimer before. Maybe we will get moving here at some point. Yeah, same right miss, which I'm fine with. That was just high off the toe.
And that's kind of what that driver wants to do, is push you more to the right side.
Yeah, that again, I'm fine with that.
And I will say, you're not happy with that. The numbers were quite excellent. 167 ball speed, 17 at 2,100. That's a 295 carry on a miss hit.
Yeah, that's what these heads are meant to do, is kill the spin on those kind of high misses. Again, that was off the toe too, which is normally dead for me. Little pull, that was struck better.
Yeah, dude, you're getting that club head speed up there, 116.
Aerodynamic, dude.
Absolutely. 173 ball, 13 at 1,800. I mean, for a knuckle pull draw, I mean, that's very
That's always what we look at with these low spinning heads is what does a shot like that do for me? Because that's my miss. That's my bugaboo. I don't want to see that. It's nice to see it still spin at that number to know it's not just falling out of the air and then just going super low and left. There's kind of that spinny cut that I like to play. That was definitely low on the face.
Let's see what that actually spun at. 172 ball speed, 148 smash. Very efficient ball there. 14 at 2800, 294 carry. That's exactly what we like to see.
Yeah, that's a good.
And you like a high ball.
Yep, exactly. That's good because that's about as low as I can miss this driver to have it still play.
Yeah.
See it at 28. That's awesome. Let's try to get one more really good one. I haven't quite caught like the center on this yet. That's on me. That's nothing to do with the club.
Golf is hard.
Yep.
There he is.
Yep.
Just a classic 175 rope.
Please pick up spin, TrackMan. What are we looking at?
So TrackMan did double our spin there. 15 at 4,600.
So it's 23.
I can tell you that was not it. So it was 2,300. That was 300 down the middle.
That's the ball flight I want right there. What is the ball speed on it?
175.
Yeah, that's what that's going to be. Again, I've talked about it in the Cobra video. TrackMan at night, radar system, that's the one downside to it, if anything. It's just sometimes it can't quite catch a spin rate, but that's the shot right there.
Yeah.
Is that I would expect with this club. Let's move into more of the core model head for me. Into the core model, just Elite. This is where you see the finish change from the more glossy, as we said, maybe like traditional tour look into a more modern look. I will say going from the 450 to the 460 CZs, it's definitely evident, but it's not, the term I use in everybody, it's not offensive. Like I would mostly, if, again, this is the driver that I kind of play right now in terms of that core model head. I've always, in the last couple of years, liked that tad bit more forgiveness. So this is a familiar look to me.
And how does that driver look relative closed or open face? Pretty neutral?
Yeah, very neutral. I think companies have started to get really good with that, making sure that, because they hear that feedback of too open or too closed. Triple diamond into this, both very neutral, which I like to see. And then again, the weight is just in the center. We're not doing anything heel or toe. I almost missed that golf ball.
You're not going to hate it.
I was going to say, that's going to be so fine.
A little left. You're definitely moving this head. 118 ball speed, or club head speed, sorry. 173 ball speed. 12 at 2,300.
I hit that.
299.
I hit that so far off the heel, too.
That
is
is
so nice.
Incredible.
Oh.
That one is what we call a really good drive, my friend.
That one felt really good.
Ooh, you're moving it. 174 ball speed, 15 launch, ideal. 2,100 RPM to spin, 307 right in the middle of the fairway.
Sick.
We like that. We like that a lot.
Put that on the list of things that we like to see.
That's another good one there, Luke.
Starting to figure it out.
Very consistent, this driver.
Which, I mean, that's what we're going to expect out of it. It's
exactly.
Like, with the composition is they don't want it to do too much either way.
I mean, do you like 14.7 at 22, 306 down the middle?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I try to kill that. I hit it so low heel and it's dead straight. Yeah, I could play this driver.
By the way, I think we do need to remove that disclaimer.
Was that? I tried to go at that one.
120.6. That was almost 121.
What was the ball speed on a miss like that?
173.
Dude, like that was, I found that go like right there.
Yeah. I mean, you swung faster, hit it worse, and it was the exact same shot.
I'm gonna try to hit that kind of like lowish fairway findy cut. Yeah.
Just like that?
That's the stock shot. At least what we want it to be.
Absolutely. Might I say Jordan Spieth-esque?
What were the numbers on that guy?
Well, 10 at 2,500, 293.
Yep.
And I love that, 101 feet high.
That's money. A little lower launch. Let's check out the X head. Our final contestant of the night, the X-Head, a driver that I say it in every video, this wouldn't go in my bag normally. This is not, I hate left balls. I'm not gonna put a driver in play that's gonna cause the ball to go more left. So when we talked about profile of address at the X, this one you can definitely see sits a little bit more shut with the X comparative to core and triple diamond.
And it does sit 2 degrees more upright as well.
So yeah, everything about this driver is to help the golfer that, as a right-handed golfer, misses to the right. So again, I'm going to be very curious to see what, in terms of curvature and start line it is compared to, like, I don't expect it just to like snap hook for me.
And what's kind of interesting is right now we have it set up neutral for you.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen Callaway do a either neutral or draw by his head.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of, maybe this is the future for you, Luke.
Just started left, but not curving.
Yeah, I mean, literally, just started left and went dead straight.
Which, when fitting, for a golfer that slices it, you don't want to do like everything to make the ball go as left as possible.
Right.
Because that's just not going to work efficiently with the main thing with that is start direction. When you're fitting a golfer who struggles with the slice, like, if we can get the slice to start in a more ideal window.
Yeah.
And then with center of gravity, maybe reduce curvature a little bit. That's the goal. Like, with a draw bias driver, I'm not trying to start it 30 degrees right and have it draw.
But also, like, if we can get the ball to start more left, typically what's happening is that face is a little bit more closed. That closes down our face to path.
Yep.
It's going to fly straighter from that as well.
There's that miss you would expect with it. I mean, that is my normal left miss, and we saw it get very much accentuated with this head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very stable ball flight. I'm glad it's not hooking for me. It's starting left and it's going left.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's just dead straight. Maybe you were right. I can be Alex Noren.
I mean, even that one, right? Your perfect one still wants to have that hint of left bias.
Yep.
Wants to just start a little bit more left.
And I didn't mention it at the start. It is just in the central weight. I don't have it in the heel. With this heel setting, we're going to see about 8 yards more of curvature. That's what like any move you make on these Callaway heads, we're going to see about 8 yards of movement. Which again, that's just perfect enough. We don't need 25. That's where the offset driver heads really come into play for the golfer that we really need to shut things down a little bit. I'm going for this last swing, I want to do kind of like an ultimate slice swing and see what happens. That was sick.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
New swing?
Just here and over? What were the numbers on that guy?
It was 1.5 up, 4 right. So sorry, 4 left.
Yeah.
I think you can slice it a little more.
I don't want to.
That was really, really good there.
How many shots was that?
That's 5.
Perfect. Testing is over. I always talk about my past experiences with clubs and how it might come in with like preconceived notions. My favorite fairway wood ever is the Callaway Razorfit Extreme. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Callaway. It was one of like the first, I mean, I always talk about like my Titleist driver and things like that, but one of my first competitive drivers I played for a while after that Titleist was a Callaway that Razorfit line. So I have a lot of experience with these clubs. I haven't gamed the driver in a while. I obviously do the testing when they come in, but sometimes after that testing, I won't go back to it all that much. I love the feel of these drivers, man. It has like the right mix of feedback to know where you're hitting on the face, but also that, I don't know what we would call it, of not like the dead feeling, but like you feel it off the face. It feels like it's like exploded. I don't know quite how to put it into words, but it has the right mix of feel and feedback where
it's responsive without feeling too firm.
100%. Thank you for putting that more eloquently than I could put it. But the feel of it, the sound of these, the look of these, it checks every box for someone like me that's super picky on what a club looks like, feels like, and sounds like. I obviously we'll hear the numbers here in a second, but this is a driver, especially between the Triple Diamond and the Core Head, that I know, like, if I had to put this in play tomorrow and go play a tournament, I would be very comfortable putting this in the bag. So walk me through starting with Triple Diamond and working our way to X. What's the major numbers? Launch, spin, ball speed, curve, all of that.
Yeah. So we'll start with Triple Diamond. That was the first one we did. That is our tour model, tour players model, however you want to call it. 171 ball speed on 116 club head speed. So very efficient, 148 smash factor. Launching 14.8 at 2800. I would say that's, seems to be, for the people looking for the lower launch, low spin today, being that it is a more fade biased driver, Luke was hitting a little bit more of a fade, so that is going to skew our numbers a little bit.
I also didn't have, some disclaimers. I didn't have my best swings with it. I didn't want to just keep hitting the Triple Diamond until I had my 5 best swings, because that's not reality.
Exactly.
We did delete a couple of ones where I slipped or the club moved in my hands a little bit, where it's it doesn't make sense to include that in the data. But of the Triple Diamond, it just wasn't my best of the best swings, but to still see how it performed on those misses with their least forgiving head was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was still very forgiving, given the probably worst swings that you were taking with it. But I think that also goes to show it's not designed to be the most forgiving driver.
No.
Right? It's designed to be one of the longest drivers, and something we saw immediately was potential. Right? That driver wants to go far. Right? It doesn't want to underspin, it doesn't want to overspin, it just wants to go fast and far. And I think that's what that driver does. Moving into the Elite, just the standard one, man, is that a good driver.
That's
173 ball speed, 13 at 2300. That's the level of consistency you want, right? It's your plus or minus was plus 1.8 and 118 plus or minus on your spin rate.
That's awesome.
That is really good stuff to see. 301 carry, obviously, I don't need to tell anyone at home. 300 yards is a great drive. It did launch a little bit lower, but like I said, I think that's just more the swings that we had.
There was a couple swings with the Triple Diamond. I just kind of got up and under it a little bit, where we had that really high cut. That's going to sway the numbers that kind of degree or so that we see it. I will say too, just in terms of the Elite head and seeing how it performs, I'm very used to a driver built like that in terms of where CG is placed within that head. Where CG's place is huge for a golfer in terms of how they're squaring it up. I'm used to that. That's what I've played over the last 2 or 3 years, is a higher MOI driver than you would see in
the weight further back, farther away from the face.
For me to square that up is just more ingrained in my muscle memory, so I'm not surprised to see that.
I will say, comparing to the X, which definitely had a little bit more of a left bias to it, and with that hitting it more left, it did want to launch almost a degree higher with 150 RPMs more spin, which is exactly what we want to see. A higher launching, more forgiving driver that starts a little bit left. It does what it says.
Yep, and then again, it didn't go super left, which is always the test in here, especially when I have it at the neutral weight. If that driver was just snap hooking off the planet, that's not a good setup for that golfer. And if I needed it to go that more right, as I still have my hand, we would just move that weight into that heel position to, again, shift center of gravity, hopefully help face closure.
Creating more bias one way.
Correct. And then what was sick to see is on my slice swing, I had a 3-yard cut with it where I just felt like I couldn't get enough over the top. So again, from 1 to 1, each of these, the test I always look at when we're doing this testing, does each one check the boxes? Did Triple Diamond spin lower than, spin in the optimal window that it should and have the potential for distance? Yes, it did. Did Core go probably the straightest, have the most consistent dispersion out of them? Yes, it did. Was still maintaining ball speed with it.
Exactly.
And then did X or any draw bias head want to favor more left downrange?
While launching higher? Yes.
Yes, it did. Everything, they checked all the major boxes that we need them to for these drivers to perform exactly how they do in a player's hands. Other than that, I mean, again, awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't wait to get these in the fitting ways to have people start hitting them. Who would have thought engineers at Callaway know what they're doing? They built 3 good driver heads. You just got to come in and hit them. Other than that, thank you guys as always for watching. This is so much fun to do this stuff. We're going to have a lot of cool content coming out from when I was out at Callaway's facility, hitting their clubs, talking with their reps, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. Signing off, I'm Luke.
I'm Jacob.
See you guys.